In this third video on Madison's presidency, we'll look at the beginning of the War of 1812, take it really through the beginning of 1814. As the War of 1812 broke out, the U.S. really wasn't very well prepared. The economy hadn't picked up with the problems of neutral trading, and where the revenues were down for that reason. The Army numbered only about 6,700 men, and they were ill-trained and really poorly equipped. According to one witness, quote, veteran commanders had generally slunk into either sloth, ignorance, or habits of intemperate drinking, unquote. Navy was in a little better shape thanks to Adams' efforts to build the fleet up against the French earlier, but Jefferson had weakened it somewhat, and it did have some experience in the Barbary Wars, but the Navy was a little bit better than the Army, but neither were that great. The first thing the United States did in 1812 was attack Canada because the War Hawks believed it was the weakest link in British control. It perhaps once again demonstrates the U.S. desire to control Canada. I think of to the Revolution when the United States, Benedict Arnold, had led an attack up there on Quebec. Anyway, the first attempt in August 1812 was a big failure. With some 2,000 men, General William Hull marched across the Detroit River and attacked north of Detroit, but was quickly driven back into Detroit. Hull was sick and by some accounts senile and proceeded to be unsure of what to do next while his defenses deteriorated. The British mocked him by staging parades when he could hear and claimed that thousands of Indians were against him, and if Hull didn't surrender, they would send them loose and they would kill all the Americans. The first American victory up there was the following year in April 1813 when General Henry Dearborn attacked and captured York on Lake Ontario. Of course, York's now Toronto. The Americans couldn't hold it, however. They lacked supplies, and so they had to quickly fall back into the United States. Here you can see a picture of the Battle of York and an historical marker in Canada. A few months later, in September 1813, Navy Commodore Oliver Hazard Perry won a big naval victory on Lake Erie, which effectively gave the American control of the Great Lakes. Perry was a 14-year Navy veteran, and he was aboard his flagship that was sinking, burning and sinking, and he very famously got into a rowboat and rowed to another American vessel and continued the successful fight. You can see that right here. After the battle, he reported to his superiors, quote, "We have met the enemy and they are ours," unquote, which is one of the more famous quotations from American military history. Another victory came only weeks later, in early October 1813, when William Henry Harrison, the hero of Tippecanoe, attacked the British on the north coast of Lake Erie. This became known as the Battle of the Thames, and Harrison effectively eliminated any British threat from Western Canada. Interestingly, in this battle, the Americans ended up killing Tecumseh, Harrison's old foe, who had been made a general in the British Army, maybe proving that he was indeed supported by the British earlier. About the same time that Commodore Perry won on the Lake Erie in the fall of 1813. In the southwest, just above Florida, the Creek Indians were attacking Fort Mims, which was an American fort on the Alabama River just north of Mobile. Aided by the British and nearby Spanish, the Creeks killed almost half the people in Fort Mims. This attack, its massacre at Fort Mims, prompted a response from General Andrew Jackson. He was from Tennessee, and he was reportedly home in bed in Tennessee recovering from a brawl with Missouri Senator Thomas Hart Benton. And of course, Jackson is going to play a big role later on, but Jackson is, he's a Tennessee militia leader. Getting about 2,000 of his Tennessee militia, and with the help of some of the locals, Jackson defeated the Indians, the Creeks, in the Battle of Horseshoe Bend in March of 1814. The Battle of Horseshoe Bend on the Tallapoosa River, now in eastern Alabama, was then in the heart of Creek territory, and so it was the sought-after revenge that Jackson wanted and made him the first victory in building his military career. In any event, this concludes the video on the early part of the War of 1812 to the beginning of 1814.